Hello, and welcome to Alumni Beyond the Hive, an HBCU podcast sharing content, creativity, resources, and experiences from the alumni perspective. Here at Alumni Beyond the Hive, we are connecting HBCU networks past, present, and future. I am your host, Leah Williams, a proud HBCU graduate from Delaware State University, and for this episode, I am excited to have Ms. Teonna Wallop as our special guest. Teonna is the current national president of the University of Maryland Eastern Shores Alumni Association. Teonna is a class of 2000 graduate of UMES, a semester early, with a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice and a minor in Political Science. During her time at UMES, she was very involved in the student community, serving as a member of the Student Government Association and becoming a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Teonna has also earned a Master of Arts in Mental Health Counseling from Bowie State University and is a licensed mental health therapist with experience working with children in foster home settings. Teonna has an extensive background working in the law enforcement field with 6 years supporting the Maryland Department of Juvenile Services, and for the last 17 years, Teonna has worked with criminally involved adults in Washington, D.C. Prior to serving as national president of the University of Maryland Eastern Shores National Alumni Association, Teonna served as second vice president at the national level. And since 2020, Teonna has served as president of the local University of Maryland Eastern Shore Southern Maryland Alumni Chapter. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Ms. Teonna Wallop to Alumni Beyond the Hive. Teonna, how are you?
I'm great, Leah. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited about this.
Oh, we are so excited to have you. And so the theme for this evening's discussion is HBCU family. Can you first start by telling us more about your experience as a student at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore?
Sure. Let's see. I chose University of Maryland Eastern Shore because I'm from the Eastern Shore and it was in close proximity to where I graduated from high school. I had grown up on the Eastern Shore, but moved away for a while and then came back. So it was really, while it was like a swift decision for me to attend University of Maryland Eastern Shore, it was also very convenient. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It opened me up to a lot of different people. I was the oldest in my household, so it gave me an opportunity to kind of not have to be the oldest in a setting, like and actually hang out and have experiences with people from all over. So that UMES was always like also a safe haven for me. So it carries an extensive story, one that I won't share today because we'd be talking until next year.
Well, it's nothing like that HBCU experience. It gives you a safe space to really be yourself and to blossom even further more into who you're meant to be, for sure. So, Teonna, what does it now mean to be an alumna of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore?
So in my family, my immediate family, I am the first to graduate from college, the only to graduate from a four-year college. So the word alumna just it's a hurdle that I was able to get through. Knowing the place that I was in when I first went to University of Maryland Eastern Shore and being able to finish and a semester early, it's it was just mind-blowing. It took me several years to even know that we had a National Alumni Association. And so what it means for me today means so much more. I had no idea years ago that I could be this impactful, that I could give back in this way and encourage other people to do the same thing. If you would have asked me right after graduation, I would have never have been the president of the National Alumni Association or the president of Southern Maryland's chapter. I just wasn't aware of a National Alumni Association. So the having the word alumna attached to me and to UMES, and the thing about the Hog Pride with us is that a lot of times not even we, but people focus a lot more on larger universities, larger HBCUs. But knowing I came from a very close-knit community of family. We're all family. We know each other by name. We hang around in the same circles. It's really, really family. It's really, really home. So when you say homecoming for us, it's just that we're coming home, and we're coming home, and you have to come home to see about your favorite professors, favorite staff, the hug the necks of your favorite people, because you may not get to see them throughout the year. So when we say Hawk Pride, that's exactly what we mean. We have a lot of pride in our university. And for those who are active in the Alumni Association and in their local chapters, they take this very, very seriously. That's what Hawk Pride means.
Being a part of an HBCU, you create those lifelong friendships and lifelong relationships with faculty and staff. That's a part of the HBCU experience. I'd like for us to transition into the topic of the larger HBCU family. I'm a Delaware State University graduate. With you being a UMES graduate, our institutions are big rivals. But what does it mean, to be a part of that HBCU family? Because we are both a part of the larger HBCU family.
So listen, it's like we can clown each other all day, talk about each other all day, get on the basketball court and, talk tons of trash. But with family, we can do it. Nobody else can do it. So we understand that. We know it's nothing but love. When one HBCU goes through something, we're all going through it. We're all going to rally together to make sure that other HBCU is good, because at the end of the day, it's HBCU. So just like one thing can happen to one HBCU, it could happen to someone else. We're like distant cousins. Like, wait, what happened down in Tennessee? Wait a minute, do we need to get on a bus and go help? So it's the larger family, and what actually brought me closer to that larger family was becoming so involved in the National Alumni Association, and it opened up doors for us to connect as associations. It opened up doors for me to be able to sit on the or be a member of DC HBCU Alumni Alliance, where I get to come together with everybody every month and hear what everybody's doing, all the great work. So yes, it's like we're distant cousins. We may not talk every day, but listen, if something goes down, we're definitely there to support one another.
Absolutely. Overall, why is it important to give back to your HBCU?
It's important because we call it home. And the same way you have your homes that you live in 24/7, there's upkeep that needs to be done, there's maintenance that needs to be done, there's love that needs to be poured into it. When we say homecoming, if we don't take care of our home, then what are we coming home to at the end of the day? Then your support extends past what can be done on the surface. We have students that need our support. The same type of support that we needed when we were students is the same type of support they need right now. And so that's why it's good to give back monetarily, give back during your time. So I always encourage alumni, listen, give of your time. Yes, we want your money too, because it keeps the lights on and things. However, the students could use your mentorship, they could use your encouraging words, they could I've even taken students home back across the bridge with me if I'm down there. You just don't know what may be needed. So it's always, always great to give back to your HBCU.
We want our HBCUs to be here for generations to come. And the way that we can help guarantee that is by giving back, as Teonna mentioned, time, talent, treasures. It's been a great conversation. But before we continue, we are going to pause for a brief commercial break. For our listeners, we will be back in about 30 seconds. Thank you.
The Delaware State University Alumni Association, DSUAA, is an organization of DSU graduates, former students, faculty, staff, parents, and loved ones. The DSUAA exists to support Delaware State University in its growth and quest for excellence. To this end, the DSUAA unites with the university through common interests, concerns, and goals. DSUAA currently has 12 local chapters and 4 affinity groups. Benefits of joining DSUAA includes discounts on entertainment, shopping, and food, staying informed on the university events and activities, interaction with current students and the university community, and a special gift of appreciation. Please feel free to visit the DSUAA website at www.dsualumniassociation.com or email dsuaa@dsuaa@alumni.com. Thank you, and we hope to have you join soon.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Alumni Beyond the Hive with special guest, Ms. Teonna Wallop. For the commercial break, we were discussing the importance of giving back. Now we would like to dive further into specifically being more involved in our HBCU alumni associations. And so, Teonna, before the break, I mean, you mentioned taking students back across the bridge to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I'd love to learn more about if there was a personal experience that you had as a student that inspired you to get involved within your alumni association.
Actually, it wasn't while I was at UMES. So I was walking through a grocery store one day and I noticed an older hawk with a UMES t-shirt on. And we started talking and I'm like, hey, you're like the first person I've seen so far, with the UMES t-shirt on. I went there. And so she began to talk to me about one of our chapters, the Washington Metropolitan Area Alumni Chapter. And she said, we really need people. We really need people to get involved. And though I did not stay with the chapter long because there was one closer to me, I just decided to go to a meeting. All she had to do was say, we need some help. And I'm like, well, okay. I didn't know we had an alumni association, but now since I know, that would be pretty cool to reconnect and get involved and do some work. And so even in that moment, I still didn't know that this is where I would be, but it really happened with me running into someone at the grocery store.
Well, that's a great story. It's always some type of experience, right? Inspires us to want to give back. And so for yours to be at a grocery store, hey, you never know when you'll get that inspiration to give back. So again, if anyone's listening to this podcast, we encourage you to reach out and learn more about your HBCU's alumni association and how you can be involved. And so, Teonna, can you tell us why is the alumni association specifically a great way to be involved and give back to your institution?
So the biggest reason I would say is that if you notice, you have people that are always going to come and go, good leaders, good staff, different university presidents. But the thing that remains the same is alumni. That's going to be our home no matter who is in charge or in a leadership position at your HBCU. And it's so important for us to have a seat at the table because we're stakeholders. It's our duty and responsibility to make sure that our HBCU history and traditions are preserved and to make sure that our students are getting what they need. A lot of times, and maybe due to no fault of their own, we have leaders that come in without an HBCU experience. We have leaders that come in that may have never attended your HBCU or your university. And so we have to teach them what we already have in place and make sure those things are preserved. We have to take care of our home.
An alumni association can be passed down leader to another leader, generation to another generation. Alumni associations can grow and develop just as the universities will continue to grow and develop. Can you just speak to the journey that you've taken prior to then now becoming the national president of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore's Alumni Association?
So I went to one meeting and it was maybe 3 or 4 of us in the room. And I was listening to, at that time, Southern Maryland had just been rechartered. And I was listening to the current president, who serves as one of my mentors in this thing. I can call her anytime and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or, hey, this is bothering me. Or, hey, how would you navigate this situation? And when she began to talk about what was needed to run the organization and what she wanted to see and how hard they fought to bring that chapter back, I listened, But what also got me, it was a much older group, is that with me being younger, I wasn't turned away. I was heard. I felt like my ideas, even if it didn't, or if it was different, they still took it seriously to say, hey, tell me more about that, or can you take the lead on that? Let's see what it looks like. And so it was very welcoming and warming. And then from that, uh, I believe she said, oh, well, we need these seats filled. And I was like, okay, I'll be the treasurer. I'm like, now I'm no accountant, but I know 1 + 1 = 2. So I just started small with what I could do. That was what I could do. And then all the while, just kind of learned some other positions so that if I were called to step up to help out, then I would know what I was doing. But I remained very humble. I used that opportunity to learn. I allowed for the older members to model for me so that I knew that if I wanted to take on more of a role, then I had some good leaders that paved the way for me.
And that's our job as Alumni Association leaders. We want to be welcoming so that someone will take the chance and reach out, become involved, and who knows, they could be the next national president of our alumni associations. With that, Teonna, this has been truly a great conversation. We're definitely going to need to have a part two to further elaborate on some of the great things that the University of Maryland Eastern Shores Alumni Association is doing. I commend you for your leadership. We'll definitely look forward to connecting further. So, the final question I'd like to just ask you, is there one last piece of advice or a key takeaway that you have for those listening today?
Yes, be the change that you want to see. Know that just because something is presented and it's not quite the way you would do it, be open. If you're going to have a diverse alumni board, a diverse alumni community, we have to begin to acknowledge everyone's viewpoints, hear everyone. That's one of my goals. And so I'm so ecstatic about the younger alumni who begin to learn about the Alumni Association while they're still at UMES. And they actually begin to volunteer for me while they're still students. And then some of them, when they graduate, they come right out into something that they're interested in. Most of them join the marketing and advertising committee because they love social media. And I love that for them. And I let them run the social media channels. So just be open, be inclusive, but more importantly, be the change that you want to see. Always be solution focused. I'm that type of person where, listen, I will listen to what you have to say, but at the end of the day, I want to hear solutions and I want to know which committee you're going to join.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Teonna, for being our special guest. It has been a pleasure interviewing you.
Leah, once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is so dope. I'd love to come back. I wish this was my thing, but it's not. Like, this is like super cute, super dope. I wish you nothing but the best. And I hope that we can collaborate on more things in the future.
For listening to this episode of Alumni Beyond the Hive, where we are connecting HBCU networks, past, present, and future. We invite you to continue to follow our podcast as we invite more special guests onto the show. If you would like to be a guest on Alumni Beyond the Hive, please contact us at alumnibeyondthehive@gmail.com. We also invite you to learn more about the Delaware State University Alumni Association by visiting www.dsualumniassociation.com or follow us on all social media platforms at DSUAA. And lastly, if you are not already involved in your HBCU's Alumni Association, we encourage you to join today. Let's stay connected. Thank you.